And as tradition, we are still grooving to it as it plays in. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to wow, my brain's gone bad. The Sith And Scoundrel Podcast. You can tell it's been a long day and a good evening.
A long hot day.
It has been a very long and a very hot day, one of which where my fan has been broken for the entire time, so I have been absolutely suffering at my desk.
You weren't sat in your conservatory.
No, because it gets even hotter in there. Like, in fact, I can't have the dual monitors down there, so it doesn't even make much sense. But good evening. Welcome back. I said, I am Phil. I'm joined as usual by Matt for our lovely weekly Star Wars chat. Obviously, of course, we went on last week just purely because of scheduling issues, but we are back. We are live this week. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm all right. Getting on. Stuff. It's good. How are you?
I mean, to be fair, so obviously not last week for we've obviously been going through Mando, bit of Rebels as well, not Mando, so a bit Andor, a bit of Rebels. Andor has been very interesting from going through, obviously, because I know we've got some very interesting points on it, especially being the fact that what's been the most interesting for me is the fact we've been talking about it going that the worst character in Andor is Andor.
Yeah, and I still stand by that.
Yeah, and 7, 8, and 9. So episodes 7, 8, and 9 are probably the three best of the show. I mean, there's still some pretty good stuff to come. There's still another few episodes to go. But I was waiting for you to get to this point because although I knew you'd like the heist, I knew you'd get on well with the prison break. And what turned out to be one of the most heartbreaking speeches in all of Star Wars. So we'll crack into the whole show, crack into those 3 episodes, but before going into it, obviously you watched the first 6, weren't fully in love with it. What were you thinking before going into these 3?
I don't know why they didn't start with episode 6. I after watching it, I got really angry that he was arrested for no reason at all. Like it was just, I've just pulled off a heist. I've now retired to a beach, and it's wonderful. And now I'm going to go to the shop and buy some stuff. And I've just been arrested. Now I'm being put on trial. Now I'm in prison. And I'm like, it's really anticlimactic that he went to prison for not even like the stuff he did in the episodes before. And I get what it was meant to represent. I get it was meant to represent the tyranny of the Empire. It was the whole, these guys are running away. You look like them. You must be part of it and coming with us. And I understood it, and I got really excited when I saw the K2 security unit, and I was just like, "Is this how they met?" And I saw another one, and it kind of took it away. So, but that being said, I feel like Andor could have started with Andor season 6, and the previous 6 episodes could have been easily done as like a flashback episode across the 6 of them. In fact, start with episode 6, which has Captain Andor getting arrested for no reason at all, which I'm fine with. Like, totally okay with him being arrested for no reason at all. It shows the tyranny of the Empire. Great. Here's a character we know from Rogue One, episode 1. He's on the beach with his lady. He goes to the shops to gets arrested. And I feel like, for what he went through in prison, would have been enough fuel for him to proceed to go on to do what he did.
Yeah.
And if he had broken out of prison and that one way out thing, and we'll talk more about that because it was incredible. But I feel like if he got out of prison and then Skarsgård found him, what was his name?
Luthen.
And then Luthen found him and was like, I know you escaped from prison. You're clearly a guy who's good at resourcing and dealing with what he's got. We're doing this heist against the Empire. And then to turn Cassian and then to turn Andor into a heist, like a vengeance heist.
Yeah.
He would have had loads of motive for going and stealing all that payroll money. Because he would have been like, I've just seen what they've done in prison. And they've killed all these people and no one ever escapes. And they're recycling people through. And this is all bad and it's tyrannical. And now we have to hit more hearts. and then that kid with the manifesto, have Andor meet him in prison.
Yeah.
Because at the end of that episode, there was two of them running along the beach.
Yeah.
And I was like, it could have been that kid. And we could have had that kid for 3 episodes, preaching his manifest and being anti-Empire and everything in prison, while we're seeing the tyrannical boot of the Empire. And then having the heist happen after he escapes with that kid, who then dies. I think that would have been the smarter way to... Obviously, I'm not professional, but I just feel like from a storytelling perspective, the heist wouldn't have just been because he needed the money. The heist would have been like vengeance.
No, I like it because I actually hadn't thought about it that way around before, and that does actually make an awful lot of sense. It would have given him a much cleaner motive, I guess, a lot more of a kind of incentive rather than just the because as we discussed when you
just
first
money,
meet,
dude.
well, even first with Cassian, as you said, he's a bit of a scumbag.
Yeah.
He doesn't develop into who we know until much later, and this gives him a much more of a because these 3 episodes kind of give him a bit more of a soul to me in terms of he ends up meeting people. He ends up meeting, I can't remember the old guy's name, but Olaf.
Olaf, Olaf, the snowman.
Yeah, but he ends up seeing what the Empire is doing to people, not just from a prison point of view, but from a personal point of view, watching tear people down, just completely and utterly take away their humanity and also reduce them. It's a really weird but effective way of reducing someone to a number. It's not even the person that's reduced to a number, it's their entire freedom is reduced to a number. It was just data in a system. And it is terrifying. And it's the way it should have been done. So it gives him a much more of that gives him the incentive. So it would have made more sense that way around then to meet Luthen. And also then you have Mon Mothma, who's arguably got the better story throughout so far.
It should have just been a Mon Mothma series. Like, everything going on with her is amazing. It's so good, and I'm watching it going, why is this not just Mon Mothma series?
I mean, Genevieve O'Reilly has made Mon Mothma incredible. Like, she's added so much layers to that character.
She reminds me a lot of like young Gillian Anderson as well. Like, she can act.
Yes.
She can really act. And I'm watching her and the whole kind of thing with Ty, where she's like, oh, look, here's a terrible foundation. Probably best you don't ask. Smile. I was like, God, she's so good to watch. Like, she's so compelling to watch, actually. So I'm really enjoying the Mon Mothma stuff in a really big way.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars has always been and always will be very political in its own way, and you can't separate Star Wars from politics. It's funny, we talked about this a few weeks ago when you talked about Clone Wars. When you first started watching it, obviously, there was a lot in those first couple of seasons, a lot of the build of politics, and it's woven throughout Star Wars' history. It's a reflection on real life, but in its own way, and its own storytelling. Of course, different races, different species, different periods in history, different times. The Empire is the be-all and end-all of that final tyrannical boot that comes down, which is why when you had the First Order come back later on, it's their whole thing as well. People liked order. They no longer have order. We can now provide it. The chaos of the New Republic is not what people wanted. They thrived under a proper regime, proper structure. They don't longer have that. So they were trying to appeal to that sense. And the quagmire that is the Senate was, although flawed, was what made the galaxy tick. Palpatine obviously took over it, and by the time you get to episode 4, the talking goes, the final piece of the puzzle's gone. The last remnant of the old Republic has died. The Senate is no more, and that's the end of democracy. And this is democracy now, not even democracy, but it's democracy in, garb. It's just dressed up, but it's not reality.
Who's who's that ISB dude who's like, I went to see Palpatine and he told me about this himself. And I was didn't go see Palpatine. Like,
you know him much better than you think. There's Admiral Yularen. Clone Wars, the narrator. That is Admiral Yularen. So who'd go around with Anakin? That is Admiral Yularen.
Oh, okay. What, same character as well?
Yep, same character. He also is in Rogue One. Episode 4. He's actually in the meeting with Tarkin. He's the whitehead dude. They've just given him a lot more story.
Okay, so I couldn't help but to feel when still on my phone sat my bed. Right. And the thing that got me was that I went to go see Palpatine. That's fine. But you went to go see this cackling old wrinkly old man. I'm like, at what point do you not think this is done? Just thought that was really weird. I went to see Palpatine myself. It's like, oh, you didn't think anything was up.
Yeah.
ISB stuff was very cool. But arguably, like, what's doing the prison scene, again, that reformatting thing, everything that happened in the first 3 episodes didn't need to be there at all. And it didn't need to take 3 episodes to do it. You know, you could have it, you could have the prison break, have him meet Lucian after that, or Lucian after that, and have him going, oh, I want your help with this heist. And Andor's like, well, no, now I'm out of prison. I kind of want to find my sister.
Yeah.
So you don't lose that plot thread. And yeah, you don't get everything with Bix and Tim, but you could bring them in later.
Yeah.
And then you keep the heist episode spaced out as it is with the group of people. And you have Andor turn up with the Manifest Kid. Which is like a grown-up version of the Milky Bar Kid, to be honest.
Yep.
The Manifest Kid is strong and tough. But you have them turn up together, and then you just keep those 3 episodes exactly the same.
Yeah.
At this point, you're like, oh, I care about you. I know what you've gone through, and I know why you hate these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would have done it.
Now, of course, he does meet Belchi in prison, who, of course, is in Rogue One. So you do have that connection come through. It's one of the only few Easter eggs that Tony Gilroy actually allowed. He wasn't very fond of doing a lot of, fan service, which I kind of like. You don't need a lot of it. Star Wars is enough nostalgia as it is, especially in this time period. You don't need an awful lot of bits for fans to look into, but you do have it in Luthen's shop. There's an awful lot that if you look into, there's so many things in the background. You've got a Gungan shield, you've got what looks like Starkiller's armor. There's so many little bits and pieces dotted around, so you don't really need an awful lot of it. But meeting Melchi is important for going forward. But yes, it could have very much easily been it could have been the kid with the manifest, and you could have then, as I said, had that journey. Manifest Kid is kind of it's a good nickname. I like it. The Manifest Kid.
Rubbish superhero. I liked the prison stuff. The weird thing is the prison stuff didn't feel like Star Wars to me. And I think that's because there were no aliens in there. And I feel like had there been aliens in there, I would have felt more Star Wars. Even like a couple of Rhodians in the background.
Yeah, I could have seen that, yeah.
Or something. It's not so I thought about it afterwards. I just thought, oh, there were only humans in that prison, and I can't think of any other point in Star Wars where there's something like that where it's only humans. And this is like saying, I'm on about like these big crowd places, not just like Anakin and Padme having a chat.
Yeah, and I get you.
I'm pretty sure you're on the production line in Kenobi where he's doing like a desert place. There's aliens on it. So I felt like that was a bit weird. I get maybe they were breaking down the prisons by species or something, but I just feel like they could have just mixed it. Yeah. And I would have liked that. But that's like nitpicking at that point. The first message I sent you, which is thank God for Andy Serkis.
Yes.
He made Andor watchable. Him and Mon Mothma are what? For the first time with Andor, I was just like, oh no, I'm going to go for the next episode. Yeah. Because of Mon Mothma's story, because of because of the criminal matey who I borrowed money from. And the moment this dude was turning up, I was like, yeah, okay, I want to know where this goes. I want to know who this is. I don't know what he's going to suggest. Yeah. Again, he was another human. Could have been an alien. Would have been quite happy. I would have been really happy with one of the Hutts. That would have been amazing. That would have been good. I was half expecting it as well. I was like, please
yeah, apart from there's no Hutts in Chandrilla. So it wouldn't have made much sense.
Well, there could be one that lives there. Zero the Hutt could be there.
No, Zero's long dead by that point.
Oh, is he? Of course he is. Okay, one of the Hutts could have been there, and that's why she's like, him, come here, never.
To be fair, I do love the fact that it is Snooty that kills Zero.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand Mon Mothma being like, you cannot bring a Hutt to Coruscant.
No, I get you. That would have been good.
And I just feel like, well, you know, if you want the credits, then you need to talk to him and only do it in person. And then having a Hutt turn up in the Senate would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Not particularly covert, maybe. And then a Hutt being like, my son could marry your daughter. Yeah, that would have been cool. But yeah, those 3 episodes are amazing. I just don't know why they didn't start the series with that. It would have started so strong.
Yeah. So you've brought him up already. Andy Serkis, Keanu Roy. I mean, he is fantastic.
Yeah. You forget how well Andy Serkis can actually act.
Outside of a mocap suit, yeah.
No, exactly that. Like, you know, Gollum was amazing and Caesar was amazing and all these kind of things. And him playing Kong, he does a great gorilla. But the moment you get him out of that, and I was like, God, he can actually act so well. And I forget that all of the time.
Yeah, it's like when you have it in Black Panther with Ulysses Claude. And of course, he's obviously in a couple others as well. But you forget that he can do these things. It's why he sells so well in the mocap suit. That's because he's a fantastic actor without all the bells and whistles. He just happens to be one of the leading experts in mocap, thanks to Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings, which, of course, you know, you also have those brilliant moments of the flashbacks where he is Spiegel, and you have him, of course, when he's fighting his friend in the boat and everything else. You've got a lot that isn't just Gollum, but he adds so much flavor to it.
When Olaf gets put down, because he was put down like a horse.
Yes, 100%.
The camera pans to Andy Serkis' face. You could see like the Spiegel face.
Yeah.
I was like, it's there, he's doing the Spiegel face. I was like, oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, more to the technology they used to do Gollum more than Andy Serkis himself, but yeah, that was fun. Yeah, he was amazing, dude. Like when he's computing himself that everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, his sentence is never going to get produced. Yeah, I really liked it. I really liked it. And that bit where he just stands there and goes, I can't swim. Like, no.
I've been waiting for you to get to that moment of the most heartbreaking lines in all of Star Wars, if not cinema. It's just, yeah, I can't swim. He's done all of this. He was so, at the beginning when you meet him, he's so regimented. He wants to do his time and get out. He's not fussed if anyone likes him or not. He's just fussed about whether people actually get the job done, get it done well, make sure he can get out on time with good behavior. And then by the time you get to Olaf, and he just looks like there's 12 guards, and you see the switch, you see the realization of this is what they're doing. All right, no, I thought they were looking after us. Apparently they're not. They don't give a shit. Right? No.
Yeah, the 12 guards thing that I thought was incredible. I really enjoyed the 12 guards thing. Yeah, I really liked him a lot. I just feel like now the subsequent episodes are going to be a bit anticlimactic. Because
they're really not. But that's the thing, they're really not.
My opinion at the moment, without seeing them, is the reason people rave about Andor, those 3 episodes. I think people love it because in those 3 episodes were amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's not like nostalgia. It's like, I like this part of this thing, and it makes the whole thing great to an extent. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll watch it over this weekend. But I enjoyed it. I felt it was a bit plot holey. One thing I did pick up on was when they're all swimming away, like all of the prisoners. Yeah. That's not the only prison in that ocean, and every other prison could have armed guards on it. So why did a distress beacon not go to another prison, which people would have inevitably swum past, and they just got shot in the water?
Yeah.
I was a bit like, that was a bit weird.
Well, the alarms were all shorted out by the water pipe. So that's why they flooded. It was to short out the floor, short out the alarm, short out everything that was going on. But yeah, no, they could have had some, and that's why they had the patrols later on. And of course, you do have that heartbreaking line at the end of it where you have Melchi and Cassian. And it's like, I wonder if anyone else got out. If it's just the two of us, and you're not supposed to know. I don't. And as far as I'm, my own viewpoint, I don't think anyone does survive. I think it is just those two.
I think it might be just those two, which is a shame. It is a shame.
But to get off though, they had to get past the West Country fishermen.
I just wish that on that beach meeting, there was Luthen.
Yeah.
Or Luthen heard about it somehow through his spy network and went, "You're resourceful. I've got a job for you. You can't go back home."
The whole point of it is not only for Cassian's build-up, but for Luthen's was of course the peril of Aldani. You could rewrite that to be, okay, now he's finally found the missing piece to complete his operation, and then he gets the peril. So you could rework it for that. Obviously, it's written the way it has been, and it's, as much as I do agree with you on the fact that unfortunately the worst character in Andor is Andor. The supporting pieces around it have been so good, and the actual writing has been, to me, was still one of the best pieces we've seen. And there's some bits to come that I will rant on and rave about for a little while because they are so fantastic. But in this episode, I felt the first few were very much, okay, here's your pace, kind of build up. It's a slow burn. This now finally got into a good rhythm. And 7, 8, and 9, so these 3 episodes really, to me, they're not poorly paced. You've got a very decent spread of story. You've got a very decent spread of good beats as well. I mean, you talk about Keanu Roy. He goes from being a very regimented soul. You get a bit of time passing. You see Andor's clock tick down. You see him get integrated. You see him kind of go, okay, fine, do the time, get out, whatever. And then you see more and more go on. You see Olaf go from a doddering old man to, unfortunately, someone who basically has a stroke and then is euthanized. And it's terrible. And you have also the hand signals as well. So between the floors, it goes, it takes 12 days for something to get to us, and you don't even know what they're saying. Don't bother with it. It's all good. And then it's, okay, what are they saying? What's going on? And then you find out what happened on floor 2. And then you find out they literally fried an entire floor, and it's then the reality kicks in.
I found that super interesting. The recycling people. Like, I don't. Do you find out what they're building in the prisons?
Yes.
Oh, good, because I'm right now. I'll say it now. I'm really hoping it's pieces for the Death Star.
Fair enough.
That's what I want, because that will add something to Rogue One.
Yeah.
That it turns out Cassian built a part of it while he's in prison. Yeah. That'll be cool.
Yeah, it's building the part of the trigger for the gun that kills him.
Yeah. I think it would be really quite poetic, so that would be fun. That would be really clever. That would be nice. I don't know. I just feel like there's nothing that happened in the first 6 episodes that really led to, that added anything to the prison stuff. No, it's not even like he got arrested for the heist. It feels like 2 separate series, actually. It feels like 1 to 6 is season 1, and 7, 8, 9 is the start of season 2. Yeah,
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Which is really weird. But I can rant and just shed all of the love on Mon Mothma forever, because what a performance! Like, she should have her own series, man.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. She's fantastic. So Genevieve O'Reilly has done a fantastic job with the character. She also voices her in Rebels. She comes back. She is fantastic throughout. And she took a character that had only a couple lines. Everyone knows Mon Mothma for many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Yeah.
She's taken that character and ran with it and done so well.
It's just the writing behind her is smarter than the writing behind Andor, which is weird. I feel like more care has been put into her, like her dynamic with her husband and like the duality of her personality and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I think, the prison stuff is very cool. I just need to see where it goes.
It definitely adds. Once you see the last few episodes, it definitely adds the pieces in places. But the first half of the season is weak, and when it was going out live, so when I was talking about it with Dave and George, we all agreed at the time it was a slow burn. It wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was a very slow burner. And the problem people had was also the comparison to Book of Boba Fett, which also was a slow burner, but for the wrong reasons. Whereas this has been more of a slow burner, but at least it had more story to it rather than just weirdly placed and weirdly written out flashbacks.
So it is really weird. Like the weirdly placed, just normal names.
Like Tim.
Yeah, but there's just Andor goes on the cover as Clem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could have chosen any name. Everyone around you has these wild and great names, and you're now Clem. And it's just, that seems ridiculous. Oh, the other thing I think is massively pointless, to the point I keep forgetting about him, is Cyril.
Yep.
I can't stand him. I don't like him.
I hate him. I hate him with a passion.
And I feel like that orc. That would be so much better if they had an orc. I feel like Cyril's arc should have ended when Cassian escaped with Luthen. Following him on, I've got no interest in watching that character.
Yeah, I must admit, this is the part I did rant on quite heavily, again, when talking with David George about this, because I can't stand Cyril. He's an awful character who's written badly, who just has no place. And he should have just been fired, and that should have been the end of it. He's just nice, clean cut, done. Awful character, just gotten rid of. And
micro-villain for the first 3 episodes. Like, end of first level boss, almost.
Yeah.
And this week, Cyril got an office job. Nah, do away with him. He's no fun to watch. Feels utterly pointless. His story's so disconnected from Andor's.
He's also a creep.
Yeah, but every now and again he's got to be reminded that he's got to be like, oh, Andor. He's like the claw from Inspector Gadget.
Next time, Gadget.
Okay, next time, Andor. Next time. Yeah, I don't know. He's pointless, which really breaks the tempo of the show.
There you go. Make it better. Lop off his arm, give him a claw. Much better. Yeah, at least improve him slightly.
Everything can be improved with that.
With Anakin and Luke, get rid of the hands, give him something mechanical. Much better.
If a Mace Windu to come back with a robot hands, that'd be amazing. I just feel like he's speed bumping the tempo of the show. Yeah. Because you got the prison stuff going on, which is all very interesting to watch. I feel like it needed more aliens in it.
Yeah, I can see that. Dedra Meerdro is also, for me, the MVP in terms of the Empire side of things. She has been fantastic throughout, and there's more for her to come in the next few episodes. Her story picks up even more. So, she is a big part of what's to come in a good way. But it is
she's amazing.
She's awesome.
Her story doesn't need Cyril in it.
No.
And they tried to give him a purpose to have him bootlicker. And I'm like, no, he doesn't need to be there. She's got enough going on that you don't need this Weasley character. She's been really familiar to me for a few episodes. And not because she reminds me of anyone famous, but she seems really familiar. And I've realised she reminds me of our boss's boss.
Okay.
It's what we've got to doubt. Who I've had many meetings with. Not bad meetings, but just general meetings. Yeah. And I'm like, you're Adele. You are completely the head of this department on a national scale. The mannerisms are very similar in things. She looks quite similar. I'm like, you're Adele. I like her. I like her stuff. I really like her arc, and I like how she's putting all the pieces together.
Yeah.
And then that old dude was like, watch your back, and she's just got to storm ahead with it anyway, and she's very smart. She's putting that network together. She's doing the math.
What I really like about her, and what I like about her story, is her conflict at work, at the ISB. Nothing has been made about it being her being a woman and her not being good at her job. It's a lot more of just you're terrible at your job because you're not following the rules, which obviously the other guy turns around and goes, yeah, everyone followed by this example. This is the way to get the job done better. There's been no, it doesn't need to be shoved down your throat, but when you look back at it, actually, yeah, it wasn't part of it, didn't need to be part of it, but actually what makes it better, because she's just damn good at what she does. She gets praised for doing it well. She gets kicked for doing it wrong, but treated like everyone else. But she gets elevated not because she's a woman, but because she does a bloody good job in finding out what people can't. And that's...
And she's got a couple of police inspector as well. Like, she's really a proper police inspector. She's doing the groundwork. She's solving cases. She's really interesting to watch. But I forgot about her, because you know, her stuff's so tied in with Cyril for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, unless he like turns around and he's important in like 4 or 5 episodes time.
Yeah.
Right now, it just feels like, we have to keep him in the show.
Yep. And I felt that way as well. And I still do. And I still don't like his arc. I still don't like him as a character. But I don't have to. No one has to like everything. No one has. Yeah, I rant and rave and I sing Star Wars praises quite a lot, but doesn't mean I like everything. And Cyril's one of those things where I just wish he was never even a part of it. He's just awful. And he's a creep, but also his mother is also one of the most cringeworthy characters that's ever been written.
I just put a plug in the book.
Yeah, that was...
I don't like his mother. I don't get his thing.
Sorry, say that again?
I don't get the point of his mother. There's nothing likable about her.
No.
Like, if she was really like maternal and quite warm, I'd probably understand it a bit more. Like, if she was like a really loving mother who was just like, I just want what's best for you, son, and you know,
it feels like to me. Yeah, it feels like to me a very poor man's kind of Goodfellas, Sopranos, kind of New York Buffy style mom boss kind of thing. Like, we're calling the favor from Uncle whatever his name is. Like, that's how forgettable it is, but Uncle Harlow, that's it. You know, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, and why they have to make her like a really cold character as well, it doesn't make much sense, because, you know, if they want to make Cyril a villain or a baddie, you make his mum super lovely and just have
you make it the opposite,
bit of an ass to her as well.
Yeah.
And then you could be like, oh, what's his problem? But
as
it stands right now, nothing in that arc is enjoyable.
No, and I completely agree. And I will, I throw my 2 cents in here and there. I can't shut where I need to, but that's the one part I go, I can't, because he's just, I can't. Yeah, that's my reaction every time I see him. It's just, do I have to sit through this? And you make the comparison to Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett, obviously, one of your all-time favorite Star Wars characters in a show that was not really a Boba Fett show. There are so many bits and pieces that I do like, but you have then things like the Vespers, which are why?
I've managed to rationalize the Vespers, though.
Okay, go on.
I don't think the Vesper gang would have looked out of place on Coruscant.
No.
Okay, so for what we've seen of Coruscant in Kenobi, in Andor, in all these series now, the fashion, especially the fashion like Mon Mothma and her Senate friends, I'm like, the Nova gang wouldn't have looked out of place on Coruscant.
Aesthetically, no. Aesthetically, it would have fit much better. Yeah,
so maybe there are a bunch of kids on Tatooine who follow Coruscant fashion in the same way, like the whole mod movement was all across the country.
Yeah.
And you had mods in Brighton, you had mods in London, you had mods everywhere.
Yeah, okay,
Fashion speaks to youth culture.
Yeah.
So the way I could rationalize it is this is a group of kids who there's a fashion movement of like a space mod movement from Coruscant, and they're on backwater Tatooine, like where you live in a sleepy town in Basingstoke, and you've got your lower back length hair and your beard and your metal t-shirts. You look completely out of place walking up the street.
100%, yeah.
But you follow a fashion that is linked to what you like. So I was like, actually, if these kids, it's just fashion.
Yeah.
I can accept it a bit more. I can kind of go,
All right.
actually, that would make sense.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Fair. I can understand that. Although it still had one of the worst chases they've ever done in Star Wars. That was an awful chase.
I still think they were stupid.
Yeah.
But I can rationalize it now to make it less stupid in my head.
Yeah. And then they turned Fennec into the $1 million man. We're going, we can repair her. We have the technology. Just don't have a high budget.
Yeah, that was really weird. I forgot about that bit. God, I've forgotten so much about that show.
Yeah.
Well, the first half of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame. Such a shame.
But then you have, Boba Fett riding a Rancor, which is cool.
That was... And this is exactly what I say about Book of Boba Fett. Half of it is already good.
Yeah.
Half of it is great. And that's the half where Din Djarin turns up.
Yeah.
And you get Din riding a bus. Which was amazing. I still think that's great. Yeah, the second half is great. And Boba Fett riding a Rancor, I loved. And Cad Bane, I loved. Cad Bane was amazing. And he looked brilliant.
Yep.
I got really annoyed when they killed him. And I didn't even know him that well.
Yep.
And now
then you watch Clone Wars. Yep.
Yeah, now I watch Clone Wars. I'm like, oh, why did they go? He was so good.
Yep.
And he looked great. Like the prosthetics and stuff
they
did on him looked amazing.
And they had Corey Burton to do the voice. The same actually they have for Clone Wars. They brought him back to do the voice for Boba Fett, and it works so well.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, I don't know. Where there was some good stuff. Who directed Book of Boba Fett?
That is a good question. No, it wasn't Rick Famuyiwa. Who was it? Give me a second. I'll look it up. I got it off the top of my head.
Basically, it wasn't Robert Rodriguez.
No. No, Robert Rodriguez did do 3 episodes of it.
Was they the good 3?
Probably.
Because what he did with Boba in Mando Season 2, where he comes back and annihilates all the Stormtroopers, was like peak Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Oh, I hope he did the good 3.
Give me a second. The Press Stars Hard did one. Steph Green did one as well. I think he did one of the worst ones. No, actually, he did Trials of Tatooine. So yeah, he did the second one, which is actually one of the worst ones.
Oh, insane. There are things I really liked in the first half of it.
Robert Rodriguez, which ones did he do? He did. He did the tragedy in season 2 of Mando. What was his one?
It was a really good episode of Mando. I loved that episode of Mando season 2.
Try to find the full list. But yeah, that's the problem with Boba Fett. It was so hit and miss. So there's some good, and there's some bad.
But I like what they did with the Tuscans.
So Robert Rodriguez did the first episode.
Yeah.
The third episode. So he did Mos Vespa. So he did actually do the he did do the Vespa chase.
Yeah.
He also did the finale though. So okay, he did at least do that one.
He did that one. There was stuff that was good. Like the insight on Tuscan society was wicked. Like the way they talk to each other and all that kind of thing.
Oh, I loved it with the sign language, and then actually the whole integrating him into the tribe, and the bringing down the Crate Dragon was really cool. There's a lot of good stuff I liked about it. And then Boba just going absolutely ham on the gang was also really cool. But then,
Yeah, I know. I just feel like in a world where we've got the Mandalorian, which is consistently great.
Yep.
Like it's reliably good now. Kenobi being as stellar as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Half a Book of Boba Fett being all right. And like the scripting, the writing in Rebels and Clone Wars. I just don't know why Andor was such a misstep. It's bound to happen.
Oh yeah.
I just want to know the creative decisions why they just didn't do more Mothman the series.
Yep, it would have made more sense than Mon Mothma series, especially considering how pivotal she is in the rebellion. And Rogue One kind of shows more what she does, and you see her a lot more behind the scenes. It would have been cooler. And as a politics aside, though, the whole relationship with her husband and her daughter, and the whole, we need money, and then it's just there's so much more to be told that hasn't been told that I would like to know more of compared to Andor relaxing on a beach and then getting arrested. But then,
I feel like if the lens was on Mon Mothma,
yeah,
everything else could have continued happening around her.
Yeah.
So Andor could still have been in it doing the heist, and then you could have had 3 episodes without him when he went to prison.
Mm.
And Luthen could still be in it, and the ISB could still be in it, and then you're not going to have Cyril.
Yeah.
And just to completely just focus in on Mothma.
Well, she knows that she's under monitoring from the ISB, so you could have had that been played on even more than it has been, and you do see more of it coming up. But there could have been more on the whole. I know I'm being watched. I know that I'm being listened to. I know my driver is an ISB agent. There's nothing I can do about it. I've just got to be careful, which is where you bring the whole smile, because we're talking about things you shouldn't be, but people can't know about this, so just look happy.
I also really enjoyed Luthen's you knew what you were getting in for. I told you there was no turning back.
Yeah.
Which is having doubts. So I was like, that's good. That's very good. I'd like to know more on who Luthen is. Oh no, the Saw Gerrera stuff. How can I say Saw Gerrera was wicked?
Yes.
I was super happy it was Forrest Whitaker as well.
Yep. Yeah.
I was very surprised it was Forrest Whitaker, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd just turn up in this TV show, to be honest. But Luthen talking to him was very cool. Of just being like,
I was like 2 Tubes as well. Like 2 Tubes showing up is cool.
Yeah, 100%. And I really like to, I will pay you this money to do this. And it's like, no, I just ask that you meet this person.
Yeah.
No, I will pay you the money.
Yeah.
There is a cost. You meet this person. And so I like Saw Gerrera, and I wish we had more of him up to this point as well.
I think we'll see more of him in season 2. Just from what I've seen so far in season 1, and then obviously what you haven't seen yet. Just looking at it myself retrospectively, I do think we'll see more of him in season 2, and I hope we do. I mean, Forrest Whitaker loves the character, and he's more than happy to come back, and I'm glad he does, because he's a very complex character. So Saw is a madman, but he's a madman with surprisingly good foundations. It's a really hard character to play, and he plays it perfectly.
Yeah. And he didn't have his breathing apparatus in this. So something happens to give him that thing. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I just feel like all the good stuff's happening around Andor. Does that make sense?
Well, and I was having this conversation with a couple of friends of mine the other day, how you hit the nail on the head the other week. So the fact that Andor, up until this point, up until you get to the actual prison scenes itself, very much feels like a bunch of people playing D&D where the DM's doing all the work and the players don't really get on.
Whereas Andor's still got no personality. He's still got no charisma. The point was everyone in the prison did.
Yeah.
And he could bounce off of them, which is what we've been saying the past couple of weeks. Because Andy Serkis is such a strong personality, and his character wasn't necessarily charismatic, but was a big character, suddenly Andor has someone to bounce off of, which is why he's likable in those episodes, because he's got these people around him that give him direction and purpose. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, that was the point. That was the point, though. They also agreed the fact that it felt very much, because Luthen is almost the disgruntled DM at this point, and there's so much more to come. There's a really good scene coming up in an episode, the next episode 10, that I think you're going to really enjoy. And I'm very much looking forward to talking to you about it. But up until this point, especially because going back to what you're saying about the fact they could have done it the other way around and having these 3 episodes be the first, when he has Aldani, you see him, he knows that he can't do anything. He has to turn off the radio. He has to kind of face to face, it would have given him a lot more depth. You would have known a lot more about what was at stake rather than just the heist. To then go, okay, no, he's managed to find someone. He's managed to get out of prison. He's managed to find someone who can finally fill out this last slot on the team. He can finally get this done. He knows that Mon Mothma needs the credits. He knows that the rebellion needs this. And then you would have had so much more at stake. The stake was there anyway, but it wasn't as told.
Imagine going back to Maeve after he'd been in prison and doing we have to get you out of here.
Yeah.
And her going, no, I'm going to stay and fight it. And you got the whole thing about her husband being hung and all that. And she was like, when this happened, I could walk through the square. Amazing, bit of writing, incredible bit of dialogue, very, very powerful. But imagine if that had happened after everything you'd seen in the prison.
Yeah.
It would just added a ton more weight to it. It's just after everything Andor had seen firsthand of this correctional facility thing. Him going, we have to get you out of here. They know I've escaped. And her going, no, I'm staying.
And then he goes off to do the heist.
And then he goes off to do the heist.
Going, right, I will get you the money. We'll get us out of this kind of thing.
Yeah, or just imagine going off to do the heist. You know, if he wanted to get Maeve to a safe place before he did it, so that they wouldn't come looking for him because he's escaped prison. Yeah. And then you could completely do away with the first 3 episodes of him killing those 2 guards. Completely do away with that because suddenly they're looking for this guy that's escaped prison and started a riot and a mass breakout.
Yeah, and then you get rid of Cyril altogether, and everyone's much happier because they just know.
Yeah, and he wouldn't need the name Clem. He could have gone into prison as Cassian Andor because when he got arrested, he was innocent. Oh my God! He went into prison as Cassian Andor because when he got arrested, he was innocent. Yeah. When he escaped, the Empire straight away going, we need to find Cassian Andor. Then judging by these pick feeds, he's the one who instigated the breakout. Yeah. He goes home, goes to Maeve. He gets picked up by Luthen. Yep. And he's like, I need to make a stop first. He goes home, goes to Maeve. We have to get you out of here. And over the radio thing, she hears there's been a breakout of a correctional facility. This whistleblowing happened when it was found out they massacred a load of prisoners or whatever. Yeah. And she goes, no, I've heard that and I'm staying. Yeah. Because people are starting to stand up. That exact same piece of dialogue. Yeah. Marva is one of the best characters in the show, and it would have given that a little bit more jeopardy. I like it. I like it a lot. And then her going, no, people are starting to stand up to them now. You know, they did something wrong. People have seen they've done something wrong. I'm staying. And Andor's like, no, we have to get you going because I'm going to go do more wrong. And they're going to come for you. And then he goes off to do the heist, knowing that she's in danger. Yeah. And having the Empire chasing him and tracking him and following him. Yeah. And that's why they turn up. To get her. That's why they turn up on that planet. That's when the drums start going, and that's when it goes quiet. That's when you want to worry. Because that's when you could have had Tim betray Andor. Okay, he is here, and there's now a proper reward for him. Yeah, you bring Tim in on episode 4, the new episode 4, which would be episode 10. Yeah. Well, it is now going, Bix, I know him. We know him. He's escaped prison. Why was he in prison? I'm telling the Empire. Then you don't have Andor walking around being scummy. This is all a story. It's going to be really controversial in a way. And, you know, it's almost like in real life what the death of George Floyd instigated after that. Yeah. If you have an innocent man that's unfairly treated and it's the shockwave of that sparks it. Yeah. Instantly bad. Instantly way bad. Yeah. You have the death of Andy Serkis' character being what ignites the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. There would have been more weight to every conversation that's been had. There would have been more weight. Is it Marv? Marv or Maeve? Marva. Marva, what do they call her, Maeve? You have her. And she still keeps the same lines, the same dialogue, the same things happen, but in a different order. So yeah, but essentially up to that planet, dude. Yeah, everyone in that town knows Andor.
Yeah.
And they know he's innocent.
Yeah.
So they start banging everything and kicking off against the Empire because they know he's innocent.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so bad. It would have just been better.
So, right writing, wrong order.
Yeah, I think the writing's
Yeah.
great. I just feel like Cassian getting arrested for no reason is what should have instigated the whole thing. And then the heist becomes about revenge. And then the prison breakout, there's like a whistle blown, and people find out how the Empire have been treating people. And that's what turns them against it. And you've just got to look at like real life echoes to that. Look how everyone reacted after Partygate when we were in lockdown and we found out what Boris Johnson was doing. Like the anger. You kind of have that, dude. You have people being angry that a floor full of prisoners was massacred.
Yeah.
And you have that anger, and then the heist becomes about revenge, and he's in prison with the kid, Manifest kid. And he's there, and he dies, and suddenly you spent 6 episodes with this kid, who's like a beacon of hope. And, you know, he's this beacon of hope, and he's written this political manifest, and you spend 6 episodes with a kid who wants to make the world a better place, alongside a character who's angry for being incarcerated for no reason. And then the Manifest kid dies? You care about him, then. You spent 6 episodes with him. You've watched him escape prison.
Yeah.
You've watched him be on the run and having to give up everything he loves. Mon Mothma stuff stays. Luthen stuff stays. ISB stuff stays. Is that the ISB don't need to spend time going, let's connect the dots. They go, this is our target, Cassian Andor. Who is he? We don't know.
Yeah.
He's from Kenari. What's Kenari? It's this lost planet. He has a sister. We should go find her. Then after the heist, Cassian uses the money to go find his sister. And that's where that comes. You flip the whole story.
Yeah.
And suddenly, in my head, the motives are a lot clearer.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I agree. I mean, Nemec is one of those characters that, you don't get enough time with him to kind of bond with him and his story and the manifest and all the rest of it. And he would have been better for it. And to be fair, though, it would have given Andor that better, rather than it just be, I'm here for the money, it would have given the better reason, which then probably would have played off better against some of the others in the team. Yeah, I can see it.
Imagine if he wrote the manifest in the prison.
Yeah.
And like hid it under his mattress or something. Oh, that would have been a good look at the escape scene if like, there's something really important I have to go back for.
Yeah.
And it's the manifest.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, dude, that. Like, just that.
Because you could then leave what are these last 3 episodes in place. I won't say anything on the last 6. You're going to watch them. We'll talk about it all next week. But timeline-wise, if you're flipping it as we were saying, you could leave these 3 exactly how they are, and it would still make perfect sense to us. As it is, these 3 are a fantastic finale to what we have had. And here's the thing, for everyone who's watching and listening, all we're talking about is literally, we love what we're seeing, just kind of the wrong order. Unlike, and the same thing with Boba Fett. The flashback episodes should have been just their own little arc, and then you have we're now caught up to where he is. Here is then the story thereafter. That would have been better. Again, good bits, just in the wrong order. And unfortunately, with Boba Fett, it kind of felt like a bit more of a poor execution over poor writing in some regards. Whereas this is definitely a really strong writing. Just all we're doing is tweaking some of the timelines.
Boba Fett for me, dude, that's mischaracterization as far as I'm concerned. But we'll discuss that when we do a retrospect on it. But no, I think if Andor played out the way we've just discussed, I would have liked him as a character.
Yeah.
Because I would have felt compassion for him. I'd understand everything he's doing. Yeah. Of course he's got no money. He's just escaped prison, where he's been for X amount of time.
Yeah.
And I'd suddenly, oh my God, it just reorganizes that, makes me care about him. Because he comes out of prison, he's got nothing, he's on the run, he has to go talk to his old friends.
Yeah.
But him going to talk to his old friends puts them all in danger.
Yep.
And he could be like, I'm only coming to you because I've got no one else to go to.
Yeah.
I need your help. And they could just be like, look, you're on the run. Your pictures on all these holograms. Then what have you done now, Cassian? And it's just like, please, I just need your help. I promise I will pay you back. I just need to get away from that.
Yeah.
And suddenly you've got someone who's on the run And he was innocent and on the run. And he's angry. That's the version of Andor that I'd really gel with and I'd care about. And the complete lack of charisma wouldn't matter because you have an innocent man on the run and he's going to be dreading everything and every step's going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that suddenly gives him a reason to be the way he is.
Yeah.
You know, he's watched the people he met in prison who were probably also in, and yeah, you throw in with that another scene where they're discussing at some point, even if it's nighttime where they're on the bunks, what are you in here for?
So what you can do, fine enough, talking what you were talking about earlier about Rebels, you can draw the comparison to Ezra. Ezra is a character who has nothing, starts to get involved, but when he goes back to help the people, he puts them in danger because he's then known. He's bringing the wolf to their doors when they're trying to live their life as much away from that danger as possible.
And Andor could have done that, and you know, could have had chats with the people in the prison. Because there was a moment I was watching it where I was like, we don't know what these people have done. Am I rooting for like mass murderers at this point? So if you had a conversation with other people, you're like, what are you here for?
I was surprised genuinely surprised it didn't take place. It's kind of, it is that kind of conversation you have. It's the general morbid curiosity. Okay, so
I'm rooting for Andy Serkis. What's his character done? He killed a bunch of younglings. You know, it changes things. So you have that where it turns out he's in prison because he stood up to his daughter or for his daughter or something. Or you've got someone else who was wrong place, wrong time. Or you've got someone who got lost and accidentally...
Forging Imperial documents, something like that.
Forging Imperial documents, or someone who got lost and stumbled into like an Imperial checkpoint. Like really minor reasons to be incarcerated like that.
Yeah, and the whole point is when they are talking about it, they extend those sentences because of Aldani. So everything, they then bump the severity of the crime, which I love that scene of, this used to be a 6-week sentence, 6 years. And it's just...
Bro, you don't even have them do it for Aldani. You just have them do it because they're the bad
No. But what I'm saying is in the actual story, in the show, they do it because of that. In this particular way we're looking at it, yes, you wouldn't have to do it necessarily for that. But at least in this instance, you see why they've done it. But in the show, you could have had it in the prison and go, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong.
In our edit.
Yeah.
You don't have them extend it. You just have them extend it because they're the Empire and they've got an endless source of free labor.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's how you spin it round. You just have to add in one scene where they talk about what they're in there for. Even just the group of people around that table that Andor's working on and Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
They find out what Olaf is in there for. You find out what all of them are there for.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that would change everything so much. Because you could keep the entire tone of the show and you could keep everything that's good about it exactly as it is.
Yeah.
But just by changing the order of the episodes around, it changes all of Andor's motives.
But
so good. Yeah, that would have been epic.
Indeed. But being as it is, and being how the show is, of course, we've talked about the high points and low points, especially of these 3 episodes. I'll be honest, these 3 are my favorite out of the show, and yet I still think the strongest is to come. There's some really cool bits coming up.
Yeah.
What are you wanting out of these last 3?
I want something smart to happen to connect the first 6. Because I still feel, at this point, the first 6 are largely pointless. So it's smart to bring them together. I want Luthen to turn out to be a bit of a dick. Like, we kind of had it when he met that ISB dude, and he was like, I'm done, and he's like, you're not done.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to go back, you're going to do this. I'd like more of, like, that side of Luthen. What I really want is that they're building Death Star parts in prison. That's all I want. And I want a softer transition for the Empire, because I feel like they went from white to black too quickly. You spent 6, and you can watch back on other shows or whatever we've done of this. But I spent a few weeks going, I kind of feel bad for the Empire because it's just people doing their jobs.
Yeah.
And then suddenly in season 7, there's this massive shift to be like, oh, look how bad they are. it wasn't a gradual thing. It went from, oh no, I kind of like can sympathize for them, straight into we're the baddies. And it was a very sudden change.
Fair.
So more of a gradual thing, because it's very rarely I'll sympathize with anyone in the Empire. I hate the Empire, but I felt bad for like the troopers. But you take like the stormtroopers and stuff, who were just clearly there doing a job.
Yeah.
And the ISB that are clearly there doing a job, and you suddenly turn around and have the shore troopers arresting Andor. And it's such a disparity between the two.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like the shore troopers were just people that happened to be working for bad guys. I felt like the shore troopers were just bad guys. And that was weird.
Fair enough.
Also makes me laugh that beach troopers, I love seeing the shore troopers again. I love the armor design on them. I love how they look.
Really cool, yeah.
I love the color palette. It just makes me laugh that the Empire has a beach division, because it's like Space Baywatch now. I can't unsee like a stormtrooper running slow motion down a beach, and it feels like one of those like Channel 5 dramas where it's like Benidorm PD. And I'm just like, how much trouble happens at the beach that there needs to be a particular branch of the military dedicated to it?
Star Wars does Hawaii 5-0.
Basically, it is that. Oh no, that wasn't K250. But yeah, and I think that's the one. I love everything about Shore Troopers. I think they're wicked. They are mega. But it's just absurd to me that in this massive military organization we have beach troopers just in case holidaymakers get a bit much. Oh no, someone forgot a flake in that Mr. Whippy. And then with guns blazing. They're like, hey.
My only issue with that is it then brings up the point of why weren't there shore troopers on Tatooine? Because it clearly would make a bit more sense.
No, because to have a beach, you need the sea, and there's no water there. There's the sea, but that's not water. So it's not a beach. They're like lifeguards, man. You don't have a lifeguard in the middle of the Sahara, but you get a bit of water. There's a lifeguard towers everywhere. David Hasselhoff is like the general of the shore troopers, and they are there. They're like really aggressive lifeguards, and that's really weird to me because there's not jungle troopers. There's scout troopers.
You have Mimban. You have the mud scuppers.
Yeah, so you had mud troopers.
Yep.
Right, beach troopers. Not like here's jungle troopers. The closest you came were the clones in camo armor on Kashyyyk.
Yes, yeah.
And the scout troopers, they're general scouting units. They're not like specific jungle, like ghillie suit troopers. Yeah. So it makes me think the jungles are really safe, but the beach is super dangerous. And I live like by the beach, man. Let's put this in perspective.
Oh, I know.
There's no dedicated beach police force there. There's not beach police and normal police.
Although there are warning signs about using scooters down here where you live because of you, though.
Yeah, but I didn't get stopped. I didn't get stopped by special beach police or like, oh, it's the SAS beach unit. Yeah, that's just so absurd to me, and I love everything about them, but I can't take them seriously because how much trouble really happens on the beaches in Star Wars that the dominating branch of the military needs to dedicate an entire like section to.
I mean, the US has Space Force.
Yeah, space is massive, and there's probably loads of bad things happen in space. Right? The only bad thing in Star Wars we've seen happen on the beach was Scarif, and that was after this. And I understand if after Scarif they were like, oh no, we need a regiment to like blend in with the sand.
Yeah.
For some reason, because you know, stormtroopers wearing white armor on Endor, they clearly don't care about camouflage, so they need to blend into the beach, but not anywhere else they go. And they go, oh, Scarif's bad. For some reason, we need like sand camouflage people.
Yeah, but
get the sand troopers. So this is before Rogue One. This is before Scarif. What's happened to have a dedicated sand military unit? The stormtroopers on dewbacks in A New Hope didn't even camouflage in sand.
Nope.
Oh, it's annoyed me. Baywatch troopers have really annoyed me because I love them, but they're ridiculous in concept. Great in execution, ridiculous in concept. They're not even the Coast Guard. Like, they don't have boats and they're not Coast Guard. They're purely shore troopers, which means they patrol the beach all day.
Yep.
Come on, man. Seriously. If they were like the Coast Guard, I'd kind of get it, but no. They're not the Coast Guard. They're shore troopers. So they just patrol the beach. They walk up and down the beach. And like, unless something bad's happening, like some people are running along, they're chasing those guys for running along, right?
Hmm.
They're lifeguards. What happens when you run poolside?
Don't run. Yep.
No running. That's it. Shore troopers are lifeguards, and that's how we're going to end the show. They were enforcing swimming pool rules. No running.
So, if you want to watch more of Star Wars Does Baywatch,
pool troopers, no heavy petting, no animals. That's it. That's what they do. They are swimming pool leisure centre lifeguards.
They are indeed.
Because they're best people for running.
There's a bunch of kids with their first Saturday job who have no real power.
They need whistles. They go, no jumping. You stay out the deep end. You're too small.
We can't jump in there with all our armor, so don't drown because we won't be able to help you.
That's a really good point. You gotta think about that. They're handling up and what? They won't go in the sea. That's so ridiculous. Oh no, there's trouble. Can we wait for it to get to the shore? Because otherwise we might drown. Because we can't swim in this armor. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's so dumb.
You're supposed to run along with those big ring things. Go here, grab this, because we can't jump in.
I'm guttering. I like the board with the paddle boards.
I can't swim. Well, you're in trouble because neither can we.
Your standard issue is an E11 blaster and a whistle. And what is it? Is it the other guys? Where it's like, we're taking away your gun. Here's a whistle. If you blow it, someone with a gun will come and help you. They could have made the shore troopers like cadets or something. Nah, it's ridiculous. So ridiculous. They can't swim in that armor. What are they doing on the beach?
Just standing there looking good, apparently.
How much trouble is on a beach in Star Wars that they have to dedicate that manpower and resource? Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. They can't even swim.
Nope, can't even swim. And that's where we're going to end the show tonight on the wonderful paradox that is shore troopers that aren't very good at their job because they can't.
What's the point? What's the point, man?
Indeed. Oh, right. We will be back next week, obviously, with more nonsense. Thanks always for that coming on. We will be back looking at the final few episodes of Andor and then hopefully a bit more of Rebels as well in our build up to Ahsoka, which now has a release date being August 23rd.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. But anyway, it's bye for us. We will see you next time.
Bye.